What's up guys, it's me, Straw Hat Nate here, and I'm back with another One Piece chapter review. This week we got chapter 1108 of One Piece titled Attention World. So we're coming off of a great chapter from last week where crazy things happened, like Luffy punching Saint Saturn and Caribou talking to the Blackbeard pirates. Luckily for us, this one continues with all that important stuff, which I was hoping to see. This chapter continues right in the beginning with the Caribou situation, and it continues the main battle in the center of the island with Luffy and Saturn. Also, unlike the last one, this chapter has a lot of involvement from the Marine Vice Admirals, and we get to see each one of their names finally. And even besides all of that, the finale of the chapter leaves us with a cliffhanger with massive implications. But I'll talk more about that when we get to that part of the chapter. So without babbling on for too long, let's get into the chapter 1108, after you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Starting out, we have the cover, actually covers because there's two. One Piece is on the cover of Shonen Jump this week, so we have that cover with Luffy in Gear 5, and then we have the actual chapter cover, which is a color spread with all the ladies of One Piece. So we see Nico Robin, Nami, Uta, Tashigi, Reiju, and Boa Hancock, and they're all sitting around and drinking wine, all fancily, and it's pretty hot if you ask me. Now, the chapter really begins with Van Augur holding Caribou at gunpoint because he's not trusting of Caribou. He's being cautious because he knows that Caribou is a sliming and conniving guy, and Van Augur really just wants to make sure that his Captain Blackbeard's life is protected. And Caribou starts panicking and screaming that he can be value to them and he has useful information that their crew could use. And in his mind, he has a short inner monologue that we see, and it's about how he knows so much about the ancient weapons like Neptune and like Pluton, so he can use all this to his advantage, and that's what he plans on doing. And it's honestly crazy that Caribou, of all people, has this much power. And with the end of the scene, we see Van Augur and Katarina Devon still pondering on whether they should bring Caribou with them or not. After that, we cut to the shore again, where the Pacifista are successfully blocking off cannon fire through use of their bubble shields. So sometimes Vegapunk's technology can come in handy, like here. And then we start going through the long list of the 9 Vice Admirals who are all here on Egghead. First, we get one that we already knew, Bluegrass, who's like the old grandma who has the power of the ride fruit. Second, we get the name of Hound, the sharp-chinned, lipstick-wearing one, who is actually wondering if they can actually call off the Buster Call because the Buster Call isn't really working at the moment. And then third, we get the name of Guillotine, who's the one with the long beard and sunglasses, and he complains about the Pacifista being used against them because they should be fighting for them. Fourth, we see Doberman, the one that we are most familiar with because we've seen him before, and he commands everyone to target Jewelry Bonnie since she is in control of all these Pacifista. And now we stop going through one by one down the list because we see that one of the Vice Admirals is sprinting straight towards the group of good guys that Bonnie is in, and he gets close to Frankie and Bonnie, and then he covers his arms in armament hockey. He puts his hand in like this weird formation, and then he shouts out his attack name, Tosa Crunch. So that's when we get his name card, the 5th of the list, Tosa. And he can just be described as a big, strong, muscular dude. Although his attack, which looks like it could do significant damage, does not actually land because he gets smashed over the head with a giant axe. So, panning away, we see that Dory and Bragi are here to rescue this group, and they were immediately able to just knock out Tosa with their big axe. Bonnie, Frankie, and Atlas are shocked and even scared because giants are here, and Frankie thinks that these giants could be enemies because remember, he didn't join the crew until long after Little Garden, so he doesn't know Dory and Bragi. But they assure Frankie that they are allies of the Straw Hat crew, but they don't actually recognize any of the Straw Hats here, even though they did their research before coming. Obviously, that's because most of this group isn't Straw Hats, but the reason they don't recognize Frankie is because his wanted poster is the Thousand Sunny, so he doesn't actually have a wanted poster of himself, so they wouldn't know him. Anyway, Bonnie yells for their help because Luffy, Sanji, and Vegapunk are still in deep danger against Saturn and Kizaru. So those are names that they do know, so they're gonna head over there now to join that battle. They know Luffy and Sanji, obviously, from meeting them on Little Garden, but they know Vegapunk through a scholar, and the scholar that they're referring to must be Jaguar D. Saul, who would know about Vegapunk probably. And as Dory and Bragi walk towards their next fight, the rest of these unnamed giants from Elbaf will be taking the group of Frankie, Bonnie, Atlas, and Kuma back to their ship to bring them to safety. Back to the 6th entry now on the Vice Admiral list. We see the one with an underbite, kind of like oars, and his name is Urban. 7th, we get the name of Pomsky, the dude with a biker mustache and a butt chin. And I'm just realizing now that Red King, the guy with the bunch of chins, is not in this chapter, in this list, so we'll just consider him the 8th on the list. And then we cut back to Bluegrass, who is controlling a mechanical sea beast that she is riding with her Devil Fruit's ability to control it. And on the sea beast is Dal, who is standing talking to Bluegrass. And Dal would be the 9th Vice Admiral, the last one on the list, and we all know Dal, of course. She actually mentions here, since they're all talking about giants, that her former commanding officer was a giant. This man is Saul. I don't know if you remember, but Saul was a Marine before he washed up on O'Hara and met Nico Robin. So Dal was definitely part of his group. And so much of the chapter is already done now, and we are just getting to the main fight. Here, we see that Saint Saturn is in his full spider demon form, and if it is actually a Zoan type fruit that he is using, this would be like his full transformation, where the form that we're used to seeing him in would be his hybrid transformation. And this form looks both ginormous, like bigger than any of the buildings, and really inhumane looking. I'll note here that Saturn doesn't say a single word in this form, so he seems to have kind of succumbed to the demon that's inside of him. So Sanji on the ground, looking up scared of this beast, promises Vegapunk that he'll get him out of here. But on the ground, Vegapunk doesn't seem to really care about himself anymore. He's just only occupied with telling them all to save Bonnie, because I guess she's more important to him. And panning back up to Saturn, we see that his touch seems to poison anything, any living thing, because when he touches a tree, it withers away. So that's dangerous for the humans who he's fighting. So he starts attacking Luffy and Sanji, and their only option is to keep on dodging him, because with one touch they might sizzle away. And Sanji picks up Vegapunk, of course. But while Sanji is dodging with Vegapunk in his arms, Kizaru comes in, kicks Sanji in the face, and then proceeds to fire a beam of light straight through Dr. Vegapunk's chest. With this, I'm almost certain that Dr. Vegapunk is done for. 2 fatal wounds like this has to kill him. But Sanji picks up Vegapunk again and starts running away because Sanji still has hope. And now, the highlight of the chapter, Luffy goes into big mode and grabs onto Saturn's face with one hand and onto Kizaru's body with the other, saying that neither of them will be escaping. So this is shaping up to be a 1v2 battle between Luffy and Kizaru and Saturn, who are super out of his league, but I'm not counting Luffy out. But now, in the last panels that I was talking about at the beginning, we see inside the lab, the computers are all beeping and buzzing and doing weird things, and then a radio message plays on the screen, coming from Dr. Vegapunk. I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, "Attention world, this is the humble genius Dr. Vegapunk, and I am about to tell you the truth of our world." So, Vegapunk set up this recording to send out to the world when his heart stopped beating, and the contents of this message are probably world-changing. No wonder the narrator said that the Egghead incident shocked the whole world. I'm not sure how much you realize that it is a big deal that the secrets of the world are getting out. But that's where this chapter ends. This was another consistent banger of a chapter, and what a time to be reading One Piece. The end of the chapter was so crazy that I almost forgot about the beginning of the chapter with Caribou and stuff, but I guess that's irrelevant at this point. We can ignore that because Luffy is going to fight Kizaru and Saturn in a 1v2 battle, which is unbelievably hype. Just imagining this getting animated in 2025 probably is making me super excited. And in the end, Vegapunk releasing his message to the world is just a crazy twist that I didn't see coming. It makes sense that Vegapunk, the smartest man in the world, wouldn't just die without a contingency plan to spread his knowledge. And I hope that next chapter we get to see the message in full length, so we get to know what it says. And then also I hope we get to see some reactions, because I love to see the reactions of everyone in the One Piece world whenever something big happens. And speaking of the next chapter, we have no break next week, which is great news. And you know I'll be waiting impatiently for next week to roll by to see what happens next. So, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, like and subscribe because it will help me greatly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.